Hey guys, how you doing? This is Benjamin with Benjamin's Exotics, and in this video I'm going to be discussing a bunch of different substrates that you can or cannot use for ball pythons. This is more of a pro video, substrates that you can use for ball pythons, but it's going to be more in terms of benefits and downsides to each bedding that people, of beddings that are, to me at least, acceptable to use with ball pythons. So let's get into the first bedding. Okay, the first bedding is very simple. Many breeders, when I say breeders, I mean people that keep probably I would say more than 10 snakes in racks. We use paper towel or newspaper. What can I say? Very affordable. They both hold humidity pretty good, but from what I've seen, paper towel holds humidity a little bit better than this, but it also tends to mold faster than this will. So whenever the snake goes to the bathroom, the whole thing has to be cleaned out. That's one of the downsides to this bedding. And the other thing is it holds humidity, but it doesn't. With some of the other beddings we're going to look at, you can literally put in one spray and your cage will just have humidity all over the side of the glass if you're using the right kind of thing, or your tub. These work fine in tubs because I haven't really talked about this much, but tubs keep humidity in way better because of the way plastic heats up, and the way that most tubs are set up with minimal ventilation compared to a screen top tank, 10 or 20 gallon. So these can work fine for tubs, but if we're looking at tanks, we're going to want to have something a little bit better than this. So let's upgrade to a different bedding. Okay, so we've basically got two options when we're talking about this bedding, and this isn't really specific, on a type of bedding, but this is a general view of wood shavings. Pine and aspen are going to be your main two. Pine can have some drawbacks. The oils in it really aren't too good for snakes in lots of cases. But I used pine for a little bit more than 3 years, and I had no problems. I did stop using it just because I wanted to make sure that nothing bad was going to be happening to my snakes, even if the effects were only long term and not short term. So I did change to aspen a few years ago. But so basically, when you're looking at wood shavings, in terms of pine or aspen, I'm going to advise aspen. You really have two options. You have this finely shredded. You can either get it in bulk at a good price, or you can go to the pet store and spend way too much money on like a bag about that size. And I got that for free given to me, so that's not something that I got, of course. But you have it shredded like this, and this has its advantages. It tends to hold humidity better. They can burrow in it. And something that nobody ever talks about is abrasiveness to your snake. This has minimal abrasiveness. Snakes are normally not too sensitive by that, but ball pythons can if the environment is too dry and if they don't have all the options that they needed provided to them. Their scales can actually start to peel and get a little bit of abrasion effects on them because the bedding is too dry and sharp and rough. You see this a lot of times with people that have dry cages with Cypress mulch, because Cypress mulch, it's great when it's got some humidity. It's very holds humidity good, and it's soft. Once it gets dry, it's very abrasive and pretty sharp. Now that's not for all ball pythons, but I have had some before that have some problems with the bedding when it gets too dry or if it's too abrasive. So that's something to keep in mind. The other option you have is basically just like this, and the only difference is that this bedding right here is going to be, it's still soft. It's not like really sharp or anything, but it's in thicker chunks, so it's not going to hold humidity as well. It's probably not going to mold as fast as this would, but again, these beddings, just like the paper towel we were talking about, they can work especially well in tubs, but when we're looking at the average person who's going to be keeping their snake in a tank, we're going to have to look at a different option than this. Now, if we're talking about tubs and vivariums normally create the same exact environment for the snake. Tubs are normally a little bit more minimalistic. But when we're looking at, as a general scheme, vivariums and tubs are much closer together in terms of environment than a tank and a tub. So let's look at another bedding choice that we can use for a tank. Okay, this is like the grand, this bedding has been praised and used by many people that I've seen. Brian Barczyk from Snakebites TV used to use this. He stopped. I had never got, unfortunately never got the chance to meet the man. So if I ever do, I'm really curious why he did. Whether it was economically or if he was getting some effect that he didn't like, because that really makes me curious and think, does he know something that I don't, or did he have some effect that I don't know of? But anyways, this is Cypress mulch, if I didn't already say. This is great for ball pythons because few reasons. One, it holds humidity great, so when they do go into shed, you can really, make the whole thing humid, and you're going to have a much better shed than, of course, with paper towel or aspen, because that's very dry. Number two, does not tend to stick to rodents. As long as the rodents are dry, it doesn't really stick to them, so the snakes aren't really going to have any problems swallowing the bedding. And it's very economical, as I said. I can get huge, probably 15-pound bags for about $8 to $12. So, that bag could last me anywhere from 1 month if I'm cleaning out cages a lot, during more around the breeding season or in summer, or, in the winter when things aren't eating as much. The bag could last me 3 months. So, but it lasts me a very long time, so it's a very good bang for your buck bedding. Now, there's another option we're going to talk about, and it can work and it cannot work depending on what situation, and I'll show you guys that bedding right now. And that bedding is Ecoearth, or basically shredded coconut husk, wherever you get it. Reptile Prime this is the same exact thing, but Ecoearth and Reptile Prime are going to be the main ones you're probably going to be looking at. So I'll use those two names. So when we're looking at Ecoearth, it's great, and it's not so great. Good thing about it. Very, very light. You're never going to have any problems with your snake being, abrasive, or how do I say this? Your snake scales aren't going to get tore up a little bit, basically, with this bedding, because it's soft, very soft, almost luxurious. I don't want to say that about a bedding, but you know what I mean? When you feel this, it's very, very, very soft. You're never going to have any problems with your snake's scales getting torn up by something like this. There are some downsides to it, but very soft. This is actually closest to what they'd have in the wild, as like a dirt. This is closest you're going to get to dirt, besides being actually, just plain old dirt. You could do that, of course, but you'd have to get it from somewhere that's, it doesn't have any bugs or anything in it. It's safe. So the biggest downside to this bedding really is humidity. That's an upside and a downside. I love this bedding for tanks with screens. I do not love tanks with screens, though. That's the thing. So I'll say that again. I like this bedding for tanks with screens, but I don't like tanks with screens. So if you're going to go the tank with a screen route, nothing wrong. Gives you pretty good ventilation. But you're basically going to have to go either this or Cypress mulch. There's nothing else you're going to be able to do. This bedding's great, holds humidity amazing, doesn't really, you can't get it too wet or you're going to have some scale problems, definitely, but as long as you keep it decently dry and just spray it lightly, you're not going to have any problems. And it's not that it can't hold the humidity. That's why, with aspen, I say spray lightly, because if you spray too much, it can't hold it and it'll mold. This really won't mold. It just, it holds humidity really, really, really well. Let me show you real quick. This is, and some people might say this is bad. I don't think so, because this is this baby snake's first shed. But as you can see on the side of this tank, we've got, come on, stay up, humidity building all along the sides. I literally put about 3 sprays in this enclosure. So, yeah, you can definitely see why so many people use this as a hide box substrate, and why so many people like this for, especially things like Brazilian rainbow boas that need more humidity than others. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've had a success with some of the beddings that I mentioned that you probably shouldn't use with tanks, leave it down in the description. If you have any other beddings that I did not list here, these are the main ones I can think of. There's other things like reptile bark, but anything besides that I didn't post, put it down in the description. I might mention it in a future video. If you guys like this channel, please subscribe. That just tells me that I have people that have a following, and that if you subscribe, you're basically telling me that you want to keep seeing more of the same stuff. And if you like a video, I'll do something like it. Some feeding videos will be coming up soon, but hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you and your snakes all have good luck with their care, and hope you guys have a good animal. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.